Good day, viewers. My name is Nicanor Nangolo, reporting to you live today from a playground in Walvis Bay next to Duneside High School as we bring you your latest news updates, weather tides, and we also have a conversation with Salvation, who tells us a bit about his entrepreneurial journey. So please stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
I've been around your love for a while now. It's hard to picture, laugh about it. We were awkward in the beginning. Now we're in a bubble alone. We're surrounded.
And now for our first story, beginning of this month, two Ukrainian nationals sat down with Erongo 24/7 in Swakopmund to talk about the horrors that their fellow people in Ukraine are experiencing. Olga Nestrenko, who has lived in Namibia for nearly 10 years, explains and wants to set the record straight about what's going on in Ukraine. Russia launched a military strike and invasion of the Ukraine on the 24th of February 2022 with planes and missiles attacking cities, airports and military facilities across the country. Many people are under the impression that this is a war between Russia and the United States, which is not the case. In fact, it is a fight between Ukraine and Russia. We are peaceful people and are only trying to protect ourselves. According to Nestrenko, the only reason for these attacks is that the Ukrainian people chose to be sovereign, democratic and independent from the Russian political influences. Ukraine has its pro-European values and it is not up to Putin's government to take them away. And now for our second story, the port captain of the Namibian Ports Authority, Namport, last Friday issued a warning to vessel operators to ensure that no oil or fuel is spilled in or near the harbor, otherwise they will be slapped with a fine. Although this is general port procedure, Port Captain Lucas Kufuna said that it is necessary to issue a reminder, especially following the heavy fuel oil pollution incidents about 2 months ago at the Walvis Bay harbor. According to Kufuna, the spills happened during the refueling of fishing vessels, during which the fuel ran over. Those were just very small incidences that we cleaned up, but even small spills are too much. We don't want any spills. We remind people that a small spill is too big. We'd rather prevent any spill than have a big problem. Prevention is better than cure, he told Erongo 24/7. The port captain also warned that no one will be allowed to discard any material, solid, liquid, that can cause pollution. Even in the event such materials are illegally discarded off, any expenses and claims that may be incurred by Namport in recovering or removing such material will be borne by culprit or representative of the vessel. And now for our third and final story. I am obviously very excited, Siske Howard Smith said yesterday after she, as the chairperson of the Erongo Regional Council, she is allowed to resume work after not being allowed in office for 4 months. During this period, of course, a lot has been left undone, but I will work effectively and efficiently to catch up on the work, she added. The news that the original politician Smith Howard, who is also the elected Swakopmund constituency councillor, was allowed to resume her duties as chairperson of the Erongo Council spread like wildfire yesterday. Smith Howard was originally restrained from office effective immediately by her party, the Independent Patriots for Change IPC, on October 21st last year. The main reason given at the time was that she was no longer an ordinary resident within the constituency for which she was elected. Howard Smith hired a lawyer who demanded the council to retract the internal memo with immediate effect. Howard Smith hired a lawyer who demanded the council to retract the internal memo with immediate effect. Howard Smith hired a lawyer who demanded the council to retract the internal memo with immediate effect. Howard Smith hired a lawyer who demanded the council to retract the internal memo with immediate effect. with the basis that the CRO exceeded her powers and prohibited Smith Howard from conducting her official duties. In his 8-page statement, Attorney General Festus Mandeka concludes that both Chief Regional Officer Habate Dorses and the IPC party acted outside the law. Mandeka also called it premature as the party restrained their member due to issues concerning the place of residence. Now, if you want to read more on this or any of our other stories, you can check out our website. That's at www.erongo.com.na. Up next, we have our weather and tide, so please stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
I actually don't specifically know where to start, but I'm gonna tell you everything, the whole journey. I actually became an orphan before I was in an orphan at the same time. So I grew up in SOS Children's Village. Isolated my parents. Due to I went through a gender-based violence type of background, I was actually placed by the social workers in an orphanage called SOS Children's Village based in Children. I stayed there for close to 4 years. I moved to Usakos, same orphanage, but just they used a different name for that orphanage. I lived there for 2 years. I was born in Otjiwarongo, the central part of the country. Not really near my mom or dad. I'm on this slide, unfortunately. I came to Swakop 2021. Okay, so this is basically where we keep the store of the dustbins after it's been washed. So we basically repack them according to the dorm's policies. So afterwards, we basically take them and then distribute them to the main places where they're supposed to be. So this is just the same area where it's kept, like all the dustbins, rubbish, it comes basically here. So we basically take now, once it's dirty, we basically take it. Okay, you know what, we first leave, but my guys, it's store washing. So I basically do the inspections just to make sure the bin is properly clean. It has basically a fresh smelling smell because we basically fight bacteria and all this type of stuff. So it's basically properly washed. So it basically dry up and then they have to take the wet cloth and actually wipe it off. So this is basically the cleaning process. We basically use fine gel and all-purpose cleaners, basically, to just get the fresh smelling stuff. So, so the main objective is so basically we start seeing the difference of how basically it looks and then all this, because there's different departments, like we have the kinder zone that has diapers and all this stuff, so we basically have to maintain that small. As long as we take the bins back, they need to feel a difference, because we're just not about washing bins. This is more than washing bins. Jera, quickly explain to her what the main purposes of this is.
The main purpose of washing bins is to prevent germs, for people to get the influence of dustbins being washed, and then it's very healthy for most people, because there is no one that can come up with something like washing bins. There is in certain areas that bins that are, I mean, the wheel is not even there, it's not getting attention. But this is what we do, and this is what we like to do. This is what we maintain.
You know, once it's not just, it's not about just washing bins. It's basically about the impact. It basically creates. Me starting with this, from eating through this, now it opening itself to me, and actually getting paid for it. It's always not about the money. It's about the impact you actually create. And for him, as someone that went through what I basically went through, doing verification off the streets, he basically knows there's certain jobs to do. He knows what the certain chemicals we used to use. So we basically understand, because we live through that. Now the bin is basically opening itself for us to clean it while we're actually eating from there. So awesome bin cleaners is not just a bin wash thing. It's about transforming life. It's about giving you true potential. Because I'm not just a bin cleaner. From when I started doing it personally myself, from having 2 employees doing it permanently, having appointed Geraldo, zeg goede salaris, hoeveel verdient dit? Which basically he works twice a week, so he earns $1,000. So basically, get out. What have you learned so far from? That's why I told you. I basically have people that are from the streets that can actually get jobs to show you what's on your arm. Basically the tattoos and all this type of stuff. This is how things people basically fear on appointing people, but then at the same time to basically break down the youth. That's whereby they get involved in criminal activities because they're financially frustrated. These guys have certain things to do. So if you don't employ someone based on how he looks, don't. So this is, I'm not just not speaking on behalf of the street kids, on behalf of the criminals and all those type of stuff. I'm not a criminal. I've never got arrested for anything. But I'm speaking because I understand these guys. I've been living on the street. So for him coming to awesome bins cleaners and actually changing his life, let me not just speak on behalf of him. Jera, Prada.
I was that man that was, I didn't know my direction. That's the main thing of me. I didn't know my direction. But when I got this opportunity of being a GM of General Manager of Ocean Business Cleaners, I decided that this is my time. I was game. Now I must give forward.
I'm actually sorry to interrupt you, Geraldo. What is my main rule that I tell you, or my policies? What is equal value?
Equal values. Equal values mainly goes on treating each other the same way, because we all are equal, and the functions of us, they are not the same.
So
But
basically, we are equal
all
in value.
all of us, we are the same,
We are all equal in value,
but
different in
different
functions.
functions.
That's basically why I'm doing it myself, because I've started it. Me appointing him as a bin washer doesn't automatically mean I have to downgrade him.
Yeah.
I should not do the job personally.
Yeah.
If I have free time from my classes, I get with those guys because it's what I've started. If you're not into your business, how are you
How
going to
you
understand
understand
what
your
your business is all about? So for me, it's not just a bin wash stuff. This is transforming life. At the same time, people to understand the true purposes of their life,
Lives,
the true
yeah.
potentials. I mean, changing this guy from where he was to where he is, being a general manager for Awesome Bins Cleaners. He runs both sides of mine. I don't have to stress myself about being in the entrepreneurial being in class and all that type of stuff. I know Geraldo is there, he's going to facilitate the rest of the people, give them their duties, but he basically knows the first rule that I always tell is called equal value. We are all equal in value, just different in functions, but we treat equally everyone the same way. Regardless of who you are, regardless of where you come from, we all equal. So that's basically the thing I actually went through in the program, because I never understood that. Remember coming from being an orphan, before becoming an orphan, from being in orphanages, going to street life, begging in the streets, and then actually, I mean, me coming to the dome was a whole different scenario of how people looked at me. I'm kind of like looking more better each and every month, because I'm now earning something and I can actually buy myself something decent. But then starting off with this program, it has been a lot of difficulties. That's why I've introduced the same thing I always thought of, called equal value, because we are all equal in value, regardless of where you come from. We're just different in function. So him washing a bin and me being the boss of it doesn't automatically mean I should not go in there. I started it. So if you're not part of your business, you never can understand the importance of your business. You're gonna start seeing the differences. I mean, going to the places I distribute the bins to, the outcome of them is like people break into tears, like, how did you get this right? For me, it was a journey. It was a learning process. I mean, having this street kid and orphan mentality from me being enrolled in school. Because remember, I just dropped out in grade 8. I'm in grade 8 dropped out. Me entering this program with all these qualified people, studying it, going through in school with no financial assistance, no guidance from anyone, no motivation. The only two people was Mr. Francis Engelberg, CEO of the Dome. The man that basically cleaned this orphan street kid mindset was Eddie and Raymond through entrepreneurial call. So this man did not just, this man tackled my brain. There will be frustration in the process, but commitment. Unfortunately, you just have to commit yourself. Remember, you're not your circumstances. You're not a victim for whatever you went through. You never asked to be a street kid. You found yourself in these positions, but now you're in control of it. You can basically change it. So me entering this program, I had no other choice, but the only choice I had was to be strong and continue with this program. I've been 6 months in the program. I started my business within 5 months. It's operational. I'm spending $18,000 a month after getting our cleaning chemicals, after getting our paying my salaries, after having something. I just get 2.5 from that 18,000 because I'm busy expanding it. This is how it looks after.
So it's the before and after.
That is the before.
Let me see the before.
And this is the after. So with the after, you can basically enter it without wearing your mask or having fear of any smell. There's a fresh smelling. Once having to take a break, placing it into your stomach or wherever you want to hold it, whether it's skin zone or anything. I mean, the first expression you get is basically from opening it. When you smell it, that's the first what we tuck it on. And having all this type of viruses, I mean, I think this is something relevant to have. Like for a bit wash, I've never came across that people doing actually that. Are you actually being judged like why bins? No, why bins? What's that? What you're young. Like, why don't you do something else for your business? But then, eating from this, it actually open doors for itself to actually do a business in it, and at the same time transforming lives. It's a massive impact. This is, I mean, from way me eating in the bin and me cleaning, me paying salaries for this. It's so I'm just proud of myself that I basically escaped the street life. I mean, from being a street kid to an employer. Something.
Platts Amir is a landmark on the coastline of Namibia, a home to quality shops and quality restaurants, a select variety of fashion and food retailers, as well as banks, not to mention the pier with 36 luxury apartments and entertainment for the whole family. Find us at corner of Tabarite and Albatross Street, Vineta North, Swakopmund. Call us on 064 462 242. Visit platsamir.com.na or at Platts Amir on Facebook. Platts Amir, enhancing your coastal experience.
Our focus, and it still is going forward, was then to move into youth and tourism. In the meantime, COVID did happen, as you quite rightly know, and we were required, is maybe the right word, because force sounds like a war, and I don't want to talk war today. We're required to realign our strategy to understand that COVID's disruption is not just something that's going to be here and then gone. It is a reality that we're going to have to work with for some time. So the word sustainable all of a sudden was no longer just saving the rhino or the elephant. It was to save an entire industry that was on the brink of collapse. And although we're not invested in any establishment at all as Namibian Media Holdings, we are partners like no other business that's not invested. And we had to go and say, how do we make a model work going forward in terms of tourism, in terms of reaching people so that people can support our country, and more specifically, countries 10 degrees south of the equator. And that's where the concept of 10 degrees south came. I think it's more valid now than ever before that how we will find a sustainable tourism model to replace the current disruption that COVID-19 and the war in Europe will have an impact on us, is to make sure that and I'm not a very good politician, that's why I don't like using the word SADC countries, but as SADC countries, we work in inter-tourism engagements. So that's where we are now, actively finding ways, how do we get tourists from Botswana, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from Angola, from Zambia, our neighboring countries to support us. Unfortunately, cars and planes have to travel both ways. So I think what has changed is our understanding of how do we support these countries as well. And we have to find ways of not just requesting people to come to our country, but also how do we find ways of promoting to go to countries.
We need to work together to achieve these objectives. I would like to inform you that the Ministry, through its Directorate of Tourism and Gaming, has formulated the National Tourism Recovery Plan for the next 3 years to be launched in the first quarter of 2022. The plan sets priorities for policies and strategic interventions required to reboot the sector. It is important to note that at this juncture, therefore, the public and the private sector, the key stakeholder, creative industries must work together with the ministry to support the recovery initiatives and to ensure successful implementation of the planned programs and activities in the next 3 years. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me in conclusion to once again congratulate Namibia Media Holdings for creating a sectoral platform such Namibian Tourism Expo, where companies, especially those in the sector, as well as those that wish to venture in the tourism sector can showcase their products and services, network, exchange ideas and innovations, and learn new trends of post-COVID-19 to improve the way we do the tourism business in Namibia. I'm privileged to officially announce and launch the Tourism Expo calendar events of 2022.
Traveling south towards Mio Bay, you find the Shawnee Shipwreck. On July 3, 1976, the Panamanian registered tanker Polaris 1, built in 1944 by Sun Shipbuilding and Dry Dock Company, was wrecked in heavy weather after breaking on moorings just north of Conception Bay. The Cayman registered tug Shawnee tried to assist but suffered an engine failure and beached on a sandbank in a current position about 12 miles north of Conception Bay. The Polaris 1 was refloated but considered a total loss and subsequently broken up for scrap metal. The Shawnee was declared a constructive total loss and can now be found along the Namibian coastline.
In Thursday's weather report, for Walvis Bay, the sun will set 23 minutes past 7 and will rise 2 minutes past 7 on Friday. Walvis Bay will experience a maximum of 22 degrees Celsius with a minimum of 18 and a maximum of 22 degrees Celsius predicted for Friday. A southwest wind will prevail with a speed of 13 kilometers per hour. For Swakopmund, the sun will set 23 minutes past 7 and will rise 2 minutes past 7 on Friday. Swakopmund will experience a maximum of 21 degrees Celsius with a minimum of 18 and a maximum of 22 degrees Celsius predicted for Friday. A southwest wind will prevail with a speed of 11 kilometers per hour. For Henties Bay, the sun will set 23 minutes past 7 and will rise 3 minutes past 7 on Friday. Henties Bay will experience a maximum of 21 degrees Celsius with a minimum of 18 and a maximum of 22 degrees Celsius predicted for Friday. A south-southwesterly wind will prevail with a speed of 11 kilometers per hour. For Arandis, the sun will set 21 minutes past 7 and will rise 7 o'clock on Friday. Arandis will experience a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius with a minimum of 19 and a maximum of 35 degrees Celsius predicted for Friday. A south-southwesterly wind will prevail with a speed of 11 kilometers per hour. For Usakos, the sun will set 18 minutes past 7 and will rise 2 minutes to 7 on Friday. Usakos will experience a maximum of 37 degrees Celsius with a minimum of 11 and a maximum of 36 degrees Celsius predicted for Friday, and east wind will prevail with a speed of 11 kilometers per hour. For Karibub, the sun will set 17 minutes past 7 and will rise 3 minutes to 7 on Friday. Karibub will experience a maximum of 35 degrees Celsius with a minimum of 20 and a maximum of 34 degrees Celsius predicted for Friday. A north wind will prevail with a speed of 9 kilometers per hour. And lastly, for Omaruru, the sun will set 17 minutes past 7 and will rise 3 minutes to 7 on Friday. Omaruru will experience a maximum of 35 degrees Celsius with a minimum of 20 and a maximum of 34 degrees Celsius predicted for Friday, and east wind will prevail with a speed of 9 kilometers per hour. And that was your Thursday weather report.
Now, unfortunately, we have come to the end of our episode, but for more news, please do visit our website that's at www.erongo.com.na. You can also send us your news tips at newstipserongo.com.na. You can also share with us your story on our WhatsApp and our Telegram that's at 0811 7000 40. You can also follow us on our social media platforms, that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Alternatively, you can also check out our online channel, that's oneup2.com, or you can simply check us out on DStv channel 285 or on GOtv channel 94. Now, that was all for today's episode. Until next time, it's goodbye.